Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 16 based on novel. So let's start. Tang Wulin gently sighed. Does your face still hurt? The arrogant expression present on Xie Xie's face hardened in response as he clenched his fists tight. Tang Wulin patted his shoulder. I have something to do tonight. How about tomorrow night? I'll spar with you then. After having been through a few matches against Xie Xie, Tang Wulin was no longer against battling. During these few matches, he had progressed and greatly improved his combat abilities. The stress that Xie Xie exerted onto him didn't go unrecognized. As the morning class ended earlier than usual, Tang Wulin didn't return to his dorm. Instead, he went off to the Advanced Academy. When the bell rang to signify the end of class, Tang Wulin spotted Liu Yuxin walking out of the classroom together with a few female students. Senior Sister Yuxin. Tang Wulin waved in her direction. Liu Yuxin spotted him easily and, together with her group of classmates, walked quickly in his direction. Wow, Yuxin, I didn't realize you have a soft spot for cute little boys. This little brother of yours is so handsome. He'll grow up into a nice-looking hunk. A girl with red phoenix eyes from the Advanced Academy said as she gave Liu Yuxin a dubious smile. Liu Yuxin snapped back, "Stop speaking nonsense. This is Tang Wulin, our junior from the Intermediate Academy's first grade." "Wulin, what's the matter?" Tang Wulin took out the sole camera he'd brought with him. "Senior sister, I took some photos for you. But I don't feel good about this. Please take back the camera." Liu Yuxin blushed slightly and rolled her eyes at him. All right. So be it. Thanks for your help, I'll treat you to a meal." Tang Wulin shook his head immediately. "There's no need for that. I can have my meal back at the Intermediate Academy." He obviously had some self-awareness. There was no such thing as a free lunch from the third window. A free meal would, at least, come from the second window. With his enormous appetite, he was afraid to eat Liu Yuxin into bankruptcy. That would be very awkward. Looking at Tang Wulin's retreating figure, the phoenix-eyed girl asked with complete doubt, "Yuxin, what did you get him to take photographs of?" Liu Yuxin answered with an air of mystery, "Wulin is in teacher Wu Zhangkong's class." "Well, the icily arrogant Prince Charming. Let's look at the pictures." As the camera was switched on, the tiny screen displayed Wu Zhangkong's figure. There were a series of continuous shots taken of Wu Zhangkong unlatching his belt, then removing it. The few female students widened their eyes, then their cheeks flushed. They were nearly drooling. A meal from the first window. "Yuxin, please sell me these photos for that. These are exclusives. I will never allow anyone to view these images of my Prince Charming, not of him removing his belt. 2 meals. That's only reasonable. Sun with rays." Tang Wulin didn't know about the intense competition his photographs had roused between the few seniors. After finishing his lunch, he continued with the afternoon class. The meditation method that Wu Zhongkong taught was obviously much more complicated than the meditation method that was taught at the elementary academy. However, the results had proven to be far better. Legends have it that this method originated from the continent's legendary Shrek Academy, and was a simplified version of their great meditation technique. Under the pressured stare of Wu Zhongkong, the students' learning speed increased. They were able to grasp the basics of how to revolve their soul power within one afternoon. After class, Tang Wulin was the first to enter the dining hall and fill his stomach with dinner before speeding out. He had an important task tonight. Currently, he was on his way towards the Blacksmiths Association to collect his blacksmith's badge. He would also collect some tasks from the association. Savings were of the utmost importance to him, especially when he was saving it for a 100-year martial soul which cost 1,000,000 Federation coins. If he was wealthy enough in the future, he would like to buy himself a meal from the first window. Tang Wulin felt distinct differences in his body when he'd eaten a meal from the first window that morning. If he could afford to have it daily, how nice would that be? Excitedly, he walked out of the academy's main gates. As he moved a bit away from the gates, a black Soul car sped in Tang Wulin's direction. Shocked, he froze on the spot immediately. "Out of the way!" A crisp voice came from behind. Tang Wulin turned his head to find a long, golden-haired teenage girl staring back at him. Involuntarily, he stepped aside. The teenage girl moved past him and, at that moment, a chauffeur stepped out from the car and opened the door for her. Shortly after the teenage girl boarded the car, the chauffeur closed the door gently before returning to the driver's seat and driving off. Only dust was left in the wake of the car. Another child from a wealthy family. To say that he was not envious was a lie. However, Tang Wulin wasn't completely jealous. He believed that wealthy people were once poor and worked very hard to get where they were now. He believed that if others could do it, he could too. With a smile on his face, he took long strides towards the Blacksmiths Association. Sun with rays. Mushi was in a bad mood recently. It should have been her most glorious day 2 days ago. However, it was ruined by a sudden change in circumstances. Just as she completed her forging and refining and had passed all the assessments, thus gaining herself the title of second-rank blacksmith, she was informed that during her assessment, a 9-year-old kid succeeded in the second-rank blacksmith's test. 9 years old? Was that even possible? This was simply unbelievable. Since the time not long after she was born, her favorite pastime had been to observe her father as he forged. Her father had mentioned that this rough and weight-laden process of forging was not suitable for girls, but was for men. However, the stubbornness in her kicked in and she stood by her choice to become a blacksmith. She started training at the mere age of 5, and started crafting small hammers. Her father thought that it was a joke at first. However, after seeing her persistence for 2 years, and mimicking his every action, it finally moved the heart of the East Sea City's Blacksmiths Association president, Mu Chen. Mushi inherited her father's martial soul. That alone made it suitable for her to become a blacksmith. In addition, she was willing to put in the extra effort. Mu Chen couldn't help but search for some rare herbs in order to try maintaining his daughter's figure. While she was training to gain the adequate strength to become a blacksmith, her figure had taken the toll and turned stockier in the process. Mushi's passion for forging came from the bottom of her heart. She was officially a first-rank blacksmith at the age of 11. Her progression grew at an exhilarating speed under Mu Chen's tutelage. Not long after her 13th birthday, she took the rank promotion test and passed immediately. She had remembered clearly that her father mentioned that she had progressed faster than others her age. That she was worthy of being called a child prodigy in the world of blacksmithing. However, how could she share this title of second-rank blacksmith with a 9-year-old boy? Second-rank blacksmith? He'd also been held in high esteem by the surveyor. In fact, although the surveyor didn't mention it, her gaze alone revealed her feelings. In her eyes, the boy was obviously stronger than her. Mushi heard that this boy would be at the Blacksmiths Association sometime today in order to collect his badge. She was keen to see who this boy was. Did he have 3 heads and 6 arms? Tang Wulin looked up to see the large hammer on the sign, before taking large strides into the Blacksmiths Association. Although he had only been here once before, he was already fond of this place. After arriving in East Sea City, this was the only place that felt familiar to him. This was also the place that gave him confidence. Yun Xiaoling stood behind the front desk and saw Tang Wulin as soon as he entered. In reality, she had been ordered by her superiors to specially wait for Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin, you finally arrived. Yun Xiaoling briskly walked to Tang Wulin's side with a smile and inquisitive eyes. How could she possibly not be curious towards this guy? At the age of 9, he became a second-rank blacksmith. How did he accomplish this feat? Reportedly, he had already broken the headquarters record. The record for the youngest first-rank blacksmith in the Blacksmiths Association was held by their current president with a record of 8 years old. However, the president had become a second-rank blacksmith at 11 years old. The president was slower than Tang Wulin by 2 years. The association highly valued this child and had ordered the employees to immediately bring him up the tower as soon as he arrived. Hello, big sister Xiaoling. Tang Wulin's memory was exceptional, and he clearly remembered the name of this big sister. Yun Xiaoling smiled. You really are formidable. I heard you passed the second-rank blacksmith test. As Yun Xiaoling spoke, she bent down and looked straight into Tang Wulin's two beautiful eyes. Tang Wulin's face grew red in embarrassment. No way. I was just lucky. Yun Xiaoling giggled. You're so young yet you're so modest. Come on now, I'll bring you up. Thank you, big sister. After getting onto the soul elevator, Tang Wulin was shocked to see Yun Xiaoling pressing the button for the highest floor. Big sister Xiaoling, where are we going? Yun Xiaoling smiled. We're going to go get your rank badge. The elevator ascended quickly, and when it reached the top floor, Tang Wulin's ears hadn't managed to adjust yet. However, he simply shook his head a few times and was able to recover. Tang Wulin was greeted by a wide view of the horizon the moment he stepped out of the elevator. The walls were all made of glass, and at this height, he was able to see nearly half of East Sea City. A great number of skyscrapers littered the city, just like a steel forest. On the other side was a great number of plant cover, bringing vitality to the city. Yun Xiaoling found a staff member. I'll have to trouble you to inform the president that Tang Wulin is here. Wulin, wait here for a moment. Yun Xiaoling brought him to a sofa and sat him down. Not too long after, a crowd of footsteps approached. Mu Chen was at the forefront. Mu Chen had arrived very early that day but hadn't even stepped foot into his workshop yet, all for the sake of waiting for the boy who was able to bring him such a great surprise. Senta Yu was also in his office and was following right behind him. If the others in the Blacksmiths Association knew that these two figures had waited a whole day for a child, they wouldn't even know what to think. Right behind these two figures was precisely Mu Shi. President. Yun Xiaoling stood up and greeted Mu Chen respectfully. Mu Chen smiled and nodded. The next moment, his gaze fell on Tang Wulin. When Tang Wulin heard Yun Xiaoling call him the president, he had stood up and looked at Senta Yu. Senta Yu walked over to his side and said with a smile, Wulin, this is the president of the Blacksmiths Association, Mu Chen. He is also the most famous Saint Craftsman rank blacksmith in the continent. Saint Craftsman? Tang Wulin's eyes began to sparkle. Mang Qian had mentioned Saint Craftsman to him before. Only 7th and 8th rank blacksmiths could earn the title of a Saint Craftsman. He had never expected to meet one so fast. This president didn't even look much older than his own teacher. He truly was formidable. Is that a Saint Craftsman's badge he's wearing on his stomach? 8 stars? An 8-star Saint Craftsman. Hello, President. Tang Wulin hastily stepped forward and bowed. It's you? An astonished voice came from Mu Shi, who was at Mu Chen's side. To Mu Shi, this was the guy who had stolen all of the limelight from her. In fact, this was the guy who stole the limelight from all the blacksmiths of his generation. Tang Wulin was slightly stunned as he saw Mu Shi. What is this rich girl doing here? Mu Chen looked at his daughter in surprise. Shi, you acquainted with each other? Mu Shi looked at Tang Wulin and said, we're not acquainted. But it seems we attend the same academy. Mu Chen smiled. Tang Wulin, what grade are you in at East Sea Academy? Tang Wulin said, I entered the academy as a new student this year. I'm in the 1st grade, class 5. When she heard the two words, class 5, Mu Shi's expression immediately revealed a trace of disdain. Naturally, she knew what class 5 represented. It was a class full of good-for-nothings who could never become a soul grandmaster. However, Mu Chen's attitude didn't change when he heard what class Tang Wulin was in. I heard from Senta Yu that you passed the 2nd rank test. That's truly a wonderful achievement. You should know that you've set a new record in the Blacksmiths Association. We truly feel that you are worthy of being our successor. Tang Wulin's small face grew red in embarrassment. He had no clue as to how he should respond when faced with praise from others. He took a moment to think before saying, Uncle President, can I get a badge now and begin taking forging tasks? Mu Chen laughed. Of course you can. Senta Yu smiled. The president waited for you the whole day in order to personally give you your badge. Yun Xiaoling had already walked over from the side, carrying a silver tray with a red cloth on top. And on top of the cloth was a badge. The badge was in the shape of a hexagon, with a blue background, a protruding hammer and 2 white stars embedded into it. Regardless of whether it was a mecha craftsman, a blacksmith, or even a technician, their rank badges all looked about the same. First and second rank badges all had blue backgrounds and white stars. It was only at the third rank that there would be change. Mu Chen personally placed the badge on Tang Wulin's right breast. His smile vanished and he turned solemn. From henceforth, you are a member of the Blacksmiths Association. As a blacksmith, I hope that you will earnestly complete all your forging work. Use your soul to perceive, and your life to gain enlightenment. A true blacksmith doesn't just forge metal, rather, they will birth life to it. Birthing life? These 2 words were simple, but they could rouse even the apathetic. Combined with his understanding of 1,000 refinements, Tang Wulin felt as if a great door had opened by a small crack for him. Tang Wulin gently touched his badge and the simple coldness causing an unprecedented sense of accomplishment to ignite within him. At last, he had officially become a blacksmith. I want to compete with you. Mu Shi suddenly interrupted from Mu Chen's side. A face that was unconvinced looked at Tang Wulin. It was only now that Tang Wulin noticed that on her stomach, there was an identical badge. Seeing that Mu Shi was eyeing him with a pair of provoking eyes, Tang Wulin was at a loss for a moment before deciding to reject her offer. I'm not competing. He turned next towards Mu Chen. Uncle President, where may I go to accept tasks from the association? Mu Chen shot a glance at Mu Shi which prevented her from speaking her mind before smiling back at Tang Wulin. Brother Center will bring you there. You are now a part of our association's large family after having passed the test successfully. If you meet with any difficulties in future, you can apply for assistance from the association. Though our Blacksmiths Association is not the strongest association around, it surely is the most united one. As he spoke of the word united, he gave his daughter a pointed look. Mu Shi, with a discontented expression, lowered her head and pouted. Follow me then, Center Yu said with a smile. After Mu Shi sent Tang Wulin and Center Yu off with her eyes, she could no longer wait before bursting out with a question towards her father. Dad, why did you prevent me from having a match with him? Mu Chen's face darkened. Such a presumptuous attitude. What do you take this place for? This is the Blacksmiths Association. As a member of the association, especially as my daughter, your every word and action represents the association. This child has just joined our association. What if you scared him off? You should compete with him when both of you are familiar with one another. Until then, if you are still keen on competing with him, I won't stop you. But you should hold such a contest privately. Isn't he your junior? You should keep your eyes peeled and watch for him especially. Mu Chen didn't get a chance to speak with Tang Wulin too much today. With regards to this child, he needed more chances to observe Tang Wulin. He had seen the block of heavy silver Tang Wulin had refined, and judging from its degree of uniformity, he knew well that Tang Wulin's forging standards was above his daughter's. His true motive was that he didn't want his daughter to suffer any blows to her confidence. After all, self-confidence was of the utmost importance, especially for kids at their age. Since Tang Wulin was keen on accepting tasks, he would have ample opportunities observing him. The planning for how he should cultivate Tang Wulin could be done after observing him a little more, which wasn't too late. Sun with rays. The task acceptance hall was located on the second floor of the Blacksmiths Association, with the whole of the second floor filled with round counters. Each of these counters had task rank sign that looked similar to the badges of the association. A blacksmith could only collect tasks within their rank or ones of lower ranks. They were unable to collect tasks that required rank higher than theirs. Within this blacksmithing trade, materials were all provided by the entrusters. Because of this, the association would try their absolute best in order to maintain the quality of the end product prior to collection. This was to avoid the association from needing to compensate. Little boy, you've brought me many surprises. That fellow Mang Tien, as he thought about Mang Tien's taunts towards him that day, Center Yu was fueled with anger. However, he really had cultivated an outstanding disciple. What type of task would you like to pick? Center Yu asked Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin said, anything that is within my capabilities would be good. Center Yu said, our association rents out forging workshops too. Are you thinking of forging within the association? Tang Wulin shook his head. Teacher is letting me use his East Sea City's forging workshop. I'll complete my tasks over there. Thank you though. A flash of disappointment streaked through Center Yu's eyes. All right, but I do want to remind you that all tasks from the association must be completed and you cannot fail them. Once you fail, you must compensate for the ruined materials. That counter in the center, facing the front, is where you collect your tasks. The left counter is where you report and place completed products, while the right is where you are allowed to purchase all kinds of metals. Our association has, ideally, every kind of rare metal that exists in the market. However, due to an individual's blacksmithing rank, the quantity they can purchase each month varies differently. If you need to, you can get your metals there. Then there's the 4th floor and 5th floor. That's where the forged products are sold. You can go have a look up there as there's a lot to look at. Yes, Tang Wulin said respectfully. Right now, he didn't have any intention to purchase metals or forged products as he didn't have any need to. Another reason was that he didn't have the money. He was actually hoping to earn coins through forging, enough purchase 100-year soul spirit. Center Yu brought Tang Wulin to the front of the 2-star counter. Behind the counter was a staff member and in front of the counter were 10 soul screens. One could collect a task with a mere swipe of the screens. The staff present were to answer on any questions one might have. Following Center Yu's directions, Tang Wulin touched one of the soul screens. A list of available tasks popped up. At the front was a summary of the task, followed by the quantity and payments. The association will take 10% of the payment while the rest will go to you. After listening to Center Yu's words, Tang Wulin's gaze sharpened. Task 1. Refine the rare Sky Dragon Iron. Requirements: 100 refined. Time: 30 days. Quantity: 10. Payment: a unit price of 2,000 Federation coins. So, one would earn a total of 20,000 Federation coins when they successfully refine 10 pieces of Sky Dragon Iron. To Tang Wulin, this was definitely a large sum. After having completed the 1,000 refinements on a piece of heavy silver, it had given him the confidence to successfully refine a huge amount of rare metals. It seemed to him that a blacksmithing was a very lucrative career. Without much thought, he picked the first task and a dialog box popped up, requesting information about the delivery location. Shortly after he completed that, the screen requested his blacksmith's badge. Tang Wulin plucked off his badge and placed it down. DI? Congratulations, second-rank blacksmith Tang Wulin. You have successfully accepted the second-rank forging task of refining Sky Dragon Iron. The materials will be sent to your indicated location within 3 days. His badge bounced up. Is that it? Tang Wulin raised his head towards Center Yu. Center Yu nodded. Isn't it simple? However, I have to remind you, as this is your first task, you have to be very careful. Though the stated payment is quite a hefty sum, many blacksmiths don't have a high pay as they were unable to complete every task flawlessly. If there's a flaw in the product, the blacksmith would have to dig into his own pocket for the amount acquired to purchase the new materials, which is usually a big sum. Yes, Master Center. I will be very careful. Tang Wulin's chest tightened as he noted Center Yu's advice quickly. Do you have a communicator number? Center Yu asked. Tang Wulin shook his head and blushed. How would he have the sufficient money to purchase a soul communicator? Center Yu broke into a grin. Then here's 2 items for you. Center Yu smiled and said, soul communicators are gifted to new members of the association. Since every blacksmith has one, you can consider it one of the benefits of joining the association. As for this ring, the president wanted me to give it to you. He said that it's just a temporary loan. It has a space of 10 cubic meters, so it'll be convenient for when you hand in your work. How else could you carry around all the metal required for the tasks? There are even benefits. This storage ring is simply too valuable. Tang Wulin couldn't even comprehend the worth of a ring with 10 cubic meters of storage space. Senta Yu placed the two items into Tang Wulin's hands. Take it. It'll be fine so long as you complete some tasks from the association. Just consider this ring as something that the association issued you. It's usually only given to 4th-rank blacksmiths, but the president believes that you'll definitely become a 4th-rank blacksmith in the future. Don't disappoint us. Tang Wulin took a step back and kneeled before Senta Yu. I must thank you, Grandmaster Senta Yu, and the president. Senta Yu helped him up, then rubbed his head with a smile. Even though I'm not your teacher, it's still my duty to remind you that every single profession is but a different route to the same destination. Even though soul power is no longer crucial to this profession during this era, and many ordinary people are now able to forge things that previously required the power of a soul master to finish, some accomplishments within the cultivation of soul power is needed to reach the peak of this profession. Because of this, you definitely can't abandon your studies. Yes? Tang Wulin earnestly nodded his head. His dream, after all, was to become a powerful soul master. Despite being more accomplished as a blacksmith at this moment, he'd never wanted to give up on being a soul master. It wasn't until he left the Blacksmiths Association that Tang Wulin snapped out of his dreamlike state. He owned a soul communicator now. Moreover, the association would reimburse him for the calling fees. He even had Senta Yu's number within the soul communicator already. He looked at the storage ring on his right ring finger. This ring had a storage space of 10 cubic meters. Its value was simply unimaginable. It was likely worth even more than 100-year spirit soul. However, Tang Wulin was unaware that even though this was a benefit given by the association, it still wasn't something a 4th-rank blacksmith could receive. Rather, one had to be a 5th-rank master craftsman-rank blacksmith to receive it. Mu Chen had clearly given him this ring as his investment into a talented child. The association's benefits are truly too great. Ah! Tang Wulin suddenly remembered something he had to do. He wasn't just a blacksmith, he also a soul master. He needed to go register at the Soul Masters Association. With his current rank, he would receive an allowance of 1,000 federal coins each month. After asking around a bit, he discovered that the Soul Masters Association wasn't too far away. Since it wasn't too late yet, he might as well drop by. The Soul Masters Association was about the same size as the Blacksmiths Association. As a one-ring Soul Master, Tang Wulin was only able to enter the first floor of the Soul Masters Association. After showing his soul ring, he was able to register and was given 1,000 federal coins. His experience at the Soul Masters Association was different from the one in the Blacksmiths Association. In this place, no one would pay attention to a brat with a 10-year spirit soul. However, Tang Wulin was still very happy with his gains today. When he returned to his dorm room, he found that Yun Xiao, Zhu Shangxi and Xie Xie were all already meditating. He quietly climbed onto his own bed and began meditating according to what Wu Zhongkong had taught them today. Teacher Wu had said that he would begin training Tang Wulin and Xie Xie the next day. Tang Wulin couldn't help but wonder what kind of methods he would use. He began revolving his soul power in an even more complicated pattern. Soon after, Tang Wulin entered a meditative state. His weak soul power began circulating its way to his meridians, converging bit by bit. Sun with rays. Early morning. As Tang Wulin finished meditating, he was astonished to discover that Xie Xie had already disappeared and that the sun had already risen. This was the first time he had tried this new meditation method, and he'd woken up much later than before. He immediately got off his bed and ran to wash his face and rinse his mouth. For Tang Wulin, mealtime was the most important time of the day. Tang Wulin joyfully ran towards the dormitory's doors. However, before he even neared the door, he saw a group of upper-grade students looking all over the place, as if they were searching for something. When he neared them, he suddenly discovered that there was a familiar figure in this group of students. Mushi was dressed in a school uniform, a long, golden hair done up in a ponytail. Girls matured early, and she was already half a head taller than Tang Wulin. She had a charming figure, tall and thin. Although she hadn't finished maturing yet, she still had a bit of the scent of a young woman. Just as Tang Wulin saw her, Mu Shi had also coincidentally turned her head, looking straight at him. It's him. She suddenly raised her finger and pointed towards Tang Wulin. Before Tang Wulin could even react, Mu Shi, along with 7 or 8 upper-grade male students, surrounded him. What do you guys want? Tang Wulin asked, confused. There's a matter I have with you. Come with me, boy. A tall, but average-looking male student said to Tang Wulin with an odd tone. Tang Wulin asked, what matter? Just tell me it here. He had a faint understanding of the situation in his heart. These advanced division students were here to look for trouble. This was definitely related to Mu Shi. There were quite a number of newly admitted first-grade students here. However, they were all scared off by the fierce expressions of the upper-grade students. You think you have a choice? The upper-grade male student who'd previously spoken reached out a hand, grabbing Tang Wulin's shoulder. Tang Wulin fiercely shook his grip off of his shoulder. His strength was far greater than that upper-grade student had expected, causing him to stumble and nearly fall. Without any hesitation or wishful thinking, Tang Wulin immediately attacked. A strand of blue-silver grass shot out of his palm. In a flash, the surrounding upper-grade students were bound. He also directly knocked down the one that had been previously staggered. During the time he had been at the elementary academy, regardless of whether it had been for himself or Eneo, he had never backed down from a fight. Even if he was outnumbered, he would fight back. If he didn't fight, then he wouldn't have any chances at all. This was an academy after all, and he would be fine as long as he broke out of the encirclement. Clearly, these upper-grade students hadn't expected this action. Even with so many people on their side, Tang Wulin had dared to attack. Moreover, he had been very decisive and had been able to bind them all with his blue-silver grass in a flash. Right as the male student in front began gathering his soul power, Tang Wulin collided with him. Bang! The upper-grade male student was sent flying. It looked as if Tang Wulin was going to break out of their encirclement. Right at that moment, a figure quietly appeared in front of him along with a glaringly bright light. In the wake of this blazing light, Tang Wulin felt as if his whole body was about to ignite. His speed suddenly decreased. He only heard a cold snort before he felt a pain in his stomach and was kicked back into the encirclement. This video will end here.